good morning and welcome back to my channel. So it's a beautiful day in the Lower Mainland today and I wanted to go for a nice ride. So today I decided I'm going to go to Boston Bar, British Columbia. So I'm starting off here at Hope. And this road right here is a scene from one of my favorite old movies. This is where Rambo was hitchhiking in First Blood. And you'll recognize a bunch of these buildings are still here. So this is the town that they shot First Blood in. I don't know what year that was, the early 80s. This old hotel you'll recognize from the movie also. But that gas station he blew up, that's long gone. So there's a bit of fun going down memory lane with that film. So going through Hope here, this is Highway 1, the Trans-Canada Highway. And prior to, I think it was 1985 or 86, this was the main highway to get to Alberta. And this pass made it so long to get that trip, if you wanted to go to Calgary in one day. And once they opened up the Coquihalla Highway 5, it cut off about 2.5 hours out of the drive and it made it an easy drive to get to Calgary. But now that it's not so congested, the Canyon Drive is an excellent ride to do for motorcycles. Nowhere near as congested as it used to be. So let's go enjoy the Canyon ride and we'll take you up to Boston Bar, British Columbia. We're just entering into the town of Yale, and to me this is where the road really starts to get interesting. For me, this is kind of the beginning of the Fraser Canyon. Now there's lots of history on this trail because back in the middle 1800s this was the Gold Rush Trail. This was the trail that took you up all the way through 100 Mile House and then on up towards the Yukon. Gorgeous day to do a road like this today. Hovering around 20 to 22 degrees so far along this road. It's just a perfect day in the middle of April. So we're just passing the town of Spuzzum, BC. And I wasn't quick enough to put the GoPro on. So it's one of those towns where you blink and you miss it. There, we just left Spuzzum, BC. concert hall. I like looking at some of those old pictures that you can find of when they were building this highway and what they had to go through with the limited kind of supply of tools that they had back in the 1800s. So we're just passing Hell's Gate. This is actually a pretty interesting area, but it's closed right now due to all the conditions. But there's a tram that you can take there, and it takes you down to the gorge. And this area between the mountains is very narrow, and the rapids are really extreme, so they nicknamed it Hell's Gate years ago. And I think it was nicknamed from the gold miners because it was so hard for them to pass through. And you can take that tram down to the bottom, and there's some awesome views of what that rapids pass is like. So it should be coming up to Boston Bar pretty soon. There's something pretty cool there that I want to go explore. And I know there's a lot of people around here that know about it. And for some of you subscribers that follow along from other parts of the country and the world, you might not even know about this thing here. So I heard they have a display about it. So I'm going to go try to find it. So here we are entering Boston Bar. So what there is what there was in Boston Bar, starting in 1940, Boston Bar was actually on the other side of the river, which is now called North Bend. But the way that you used to get there was a rowboat. And then in 1939, they built a ferry, commissioned it in 1940 to get to the other side of the river. What was really unusual is this ferry at this point here was an aerial ferry for vehicles. There was piers on both sides with these cables that span the river, and you used to drive your vehicle in it. They would transport your vehicle to the other side. It was an aerial car ferry. Now I believe somewhere they have this ferry on display. Now I might have to pull over and find out where it is, but I'm going to take a look across the bridge here first. So this bridge replaced that ferry in 1986. So they operated this one-way car ferry, well, two ways, but it could only go one way at a time. They operated it from 1940 to 1986. Now, when I lived in Vancouver in the 1980s, I didn't know anything about this aerial ferry, or else I would have come and done it just for the fun of it. Here we are entering Scuzzy Creek. It's a forestry service road. Now, I don't know if I want to get mixed up with logging trucks today. So I'll find a place to turn around, because what I want to actually find is that aerial car ferry. So here's a good view behind me of the area for Boston Bar. Now, originally this area for the indigenous people was called Koyomi or Koyam or something like that. Again, I can't pronounce it, but I'll put the word up on the screen. And that was what the area was known for first. And then on the west side of the river, right behind me there, in 1860 it got known as Boston Bar. So where did that name come from? Well, bar refers to the sand deposits when the river would change direction, and that's where they would gold mine. So this area was primarily gold mined by a bunch of Americans, and the Chinook jargon for them at the time called them Bostons. So the area was known as Boston Bar. So when the railway came through here, and I think that was 1886, I think I read, and they changed the name of the town to North Bend. Boston Bar basically moved across the river to the east side of the river where it is today. So that gives you a little bit of a history where the name came from. I hope I got it right. So when in doubt, ask somebody, right? So I drove through town and I couldn't find it. And then here it is sitting right in front of my face. There it is right in front of me, the North Bend Aerial Ferry. Let's go take a look at it. Yeah, so sometimes I just have to open my eyes to find what I want to find. So here it is right behind me. That's the aerial car ferry that operated from 1940 to 1986. I'm going to go walk on it and see what it was like. So there, you would just drive on it. Right up there is the pulleys for the cables that would take you across the river. I found some old photographs online that I'll show you of vehicles that actually go in here. So you'd hang by cables and go across the river like this. I would have loved to have done it. Too bad I didn't know about it in the 80s. It's nice they made a little park out of it now. Got some takeout from the Pig's Ear Saloon, so now I'm going to go in there and have myself some lunch. Well, we just finished the Fraser Canyon Road between Boston Bar and Yale. I hope you enjoyed that ride today. See you on the next video.